Hi, this is Fernando from Calvo Geospatial, and I'm going to show you the enhancements and the news for the new version of the buildings plugin for Trimble Business Center. We are publishing now the version 23.04, and it includes some enhancements and bug fixes, and you can see all the details on the new help that you will find by pressing F1 on any buildings mask. And we are also telling some important information about the new TBC version 5.90. So some changes regarding folders and regarding permissions that you need to do before using buildings. And you can also check what is new at the end of the website. So all the enhancements and all the bug fixes. Okay, so let's start one by one. So checking what is new on each function. So we have here one example with some sections, with some elevations and some floor plans. So the first thing is if we go to building, so we see on the left side we don't have any layers for floors. So if we go to building and say, for example, we are only measuring the 26th and 27th. So we will say the amount of floors is 2, starting on the 26th. So after pressing on the Add Floors button, we see here that we have created the corresponding layers for the 26th floor, for the 27th floor, and also here the 2 floors. The second enhancement is that we have added some more options here, for example, for the door stamp, IDs and some other attributes, and also for the window stamp, and also some more information and some more objects are dependent on the profile itself. So if we go, for example, to symbols, we don't have any profile yet. So we go to symbols, so we see we don't have any quick symbols here. If we rather change here and pick one of the profiles, for example, our standard profile, and store, and then open again the symbols, so we will see that the last quick symbols for this profile will be shown. So we are seeing here the last option that we did. The next enhancement is that we can now define the for sections and elevations, if the created layers are by layer, the colors are by layers or by grayscale. Until now it was by grayscale, now it will be by layers. Okay, we can go to the next function, to the walls. In general, we have added the next enhancement to all these functions, to all the functions where we need to pick levels. So one of the things is that we have splitted it here in station view and cutting plane. Until now we only had station view, but now we can go to cutting plane, and for example we can have some auxiliary cutting planes. So for example in the longitudinal direction and the cross direction, so we can pick longitudinal. So we are seeing, as soon as we pick one cutting plane from here, we see its position and also with the current thickness. So we will see the position itself in red and also the thickness. So in this case it's 1 meter, so it's 50 centimeters in each direction. So we can see exactly this cut here. So if we change it to 3 meters, so we can see it much better, and we just simply change here to cross and update it. So we will see here also the new thickness and also in which direction it's looking. So it's looking into this direction. And for example, imagine that we want to start here creating some rooms. We already have the rooms in this case, but just to show you. So for example, we are looking inside and we want to create this room, and obviously we need the floor level, the ceiling level, and also some levels for the windows and for the doors. So one easy thing would be to pick here in the cutting plane view the corresponding section. So this is this one, but we see here that it's not cutting where we want, and also it's very thick. So we just say 0.5, and also we are moving this plane exactly to here, for example. So I will have the the levels also for the room and for the window. So we see that just picking there, the plane is moving to there. So we are seeing it here. We just need either the whole building, or I want to see only the 0, 0. So I make sure that I'm not picking somewhere else. So we could easily pick here the floor and the ceiling. So we have here the proper height and the proper levels for the floor and for the ceiling. The same, for example, in this case for windows. So we see here this window. So as soon as we open this function, the window function, or here, so we just quickly, we are able to pick here the floor, the sill, the head. So we have here the different sill heights, the window heights, etc. And if we, for example, want to cut in this direction, because we want to now to create the door and the window at once, so we can change it here to the other auxiliary plane. We see where it is right now. So for example, cutting plane, we would say cross. It's cutting there, but we want to cut exactly there. We just simply need to activate this field, pick somewhere here, cutting both. So, and now we see here the new placement, and also the window, and also the door here. As I say, it's for several different functions. For example, for column also, if we are here and change to the second floor, we have some columns there. So for example, here and a beam. So we see the column, and we could say, now I want to cut exactly in this direction. So we just pick longitudinal and move it exactly to this position. So we see that we are cutting this way and seeing the column and the beam there. So I could simply pick the floor and the top of the column, so I would get the height, and the same for the beam itself. The next enhancement has to do with the current profile. So if we open some symbols mask, like the symbol vertical, and also the levels, in case we have already defined some quick symbols for the current profile, we will see them. So we go to settings and see, okay, the current profile is GCCDE. So, and we open symbol, we will automatically see the last defined quick symbols for this profile. So we don't need to pick them for each individual project, either for a new project or another existing project where we pick the current profile. So we see them here. Also, another enhancement, another new function is what we have added to doors and windows. So for example, here we see it seems like before, but as soon as we say, okay, we want to insert a door corresponding to this room. So we read the room ID, etc. And now we could also add some attributes, the ID itself for the door, and also material that you can edit or add new values, and also a comment, whatever. And then as soon as we create the element, these attributes are recorded, and we can also export them, or also even show it in the room stamp. So we have here another project where we already have some doors, windows, etc. with the new attributes. So we can just simply, for example, watch inside and change to this view, so it's a bit easier to see. And we could just pick all of them or just some of them and export to Excel. And for example, we just can deactivate this and say, for example, from this floor, we can pick graphically or just select all and say export to Excel. So we see here the doors, the new door ID, and also the material and the condition, and the same for windows in case we created the window stamp. we can see now the improvements for the sections and elevations. So if we open the section, so the first thing that we will see is that we are now seeing the plane position. So we see here the current section. If we move to another one, we will see its position. And we see here what we are seeing, the projection plane. So it was the original definition of the plane. So this is the projection that we will use to project each picked point from here onto this plane. But we can move the plane position. So you see we have here BB with this thickness. So you see the green line is the cut-in thickness, so 0.5. And we will project onto this plane, but we can simply change the position. So for example, if we want to see whatever door, for example, here, we can move it to there. So the plane is placed exactly there, and we could pick exactly the points to define this door there. So we can create a new one to see the new functions. So we create the CC, for example, and we pick, for example, along this stair, and we place it, for example, here. Okay, so we see here the CC, and if we choose it from here, so we see the original position. So we could start picking the points. So for example, we can see the first improvements. If we go to polyline, we have added this option ortho. So we could start creating a new polyline, for example, like this. So we move to here, and we can start, for example, here. To here, and if from now we want to create the ortho lines, so we can pick there, and then if the y increment is bigger than the x increment, it will be a vertical line, and the way around an horizontal line. So I'm sure I'm creating ortho lines. So we can see it here, and although I pick, for example, I want to create an horizontal line now, it doesn't matter if I pick here, you see that we will get anyway an horizontal line. So we can finish, and then I can pick a couple of lines more here because I want to create now some other objects. So I'm creating now this here. And then I close here. And then, for example, if we want to create now horizontal or vertical lines or extending lines automatically, now we have two options. So for example, I could create now, let's say, new line, vertical, and now we can choose different elements. So for example, now I'm creating just this column. So a vertical one. So I pick here, and I pick here. And until now, we only had one, but we can say now, okay, for example, I'm creating an additional one, this one. And now I say I want to create an horizontal line, but extending up to this and this. So we can choose multiple boundaries. So if I pick here, you see that the line is created from only up to this and this. This is also an improvement for the sections and elevations. A new function that we have included is the smart line. So this way you can pick simply the floor and then the object itself that you want to draw, and you will see that the corresponding layer will be picked. So for example, we want to create here. So we say outside, and we want to create the exterior line. So we pick, for example, the 01 cut, and we see here the exterior wall, and we want to create it manually because it's very long or whatever, outer wall. So we see that we have selected automatically the proper layer, and then we can start drawing. And if we wish to work in ortho mode, we can pick there. And then the next point that we pick, it doesn't matter if I pick here, the software will create an horizontal line. In our case, it wouldn't be correct, as we see. So we could just undo and then uncheck this and pick there. And finally, we have added a new function, opening properties, similar to the room properties. So we can pick on a door or a window, and then we see its properties, the floor, the room name, etc. The room ID, in case we forgot it or whatever, the ID, the material, etc. So we could update this information, and then when we are export to Excel, so we will get all this correct information exported. And there are some bug fixes that you can check on the online help. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the new version, and looking forward to hearing from you for additional improvements, etc. Thank you. Bye-bye.